Is this good?
Yep, your rating frame. And I'll give you a session. Alright, make sure those phones are on silent or do not disturb. And whenever you're ready, we're ready.
Okay. So, as young adults, most of the time when we work is for minimum wage. And as politicians everywhere talk about raising the minimum wage, don't we think this will help us? But come to find out, higher wages do not necessarily mean a better economy or better employment for us. The minimum wage is a highly contested topic, but a minimum wage increase would not lead to many of the benefits people think it will. During my research, I've come across many studies that show the effects of the minimum wage. Many of you might say, I don't work for minimum wage, so this doesn't affect me. But even if you don't, it still affects you. And if you do believe in a minimum wage increase, I hope you'll listen as I talk about the effects and other solutions instead of it. We will start with the effects of a minimum wage increase. According to many economists, the raising of the minimum wage to $15 is a problem and will have many consequences. Next slide. According to a 2019 article by John Phelan, an economist, raising the minimum wage will bring more unemployment and lower the quantity of labor required. In 2012, Joseph Sabia and others did a study on the 2004-2006 New York minimum wage of $1.50, and they said it's associated with a 20 to 22% reduction in employment of less skilled and less educated workers, with most of them being between the ages of 16 and 24. The youngest individuals who do not have much work experience, like us, are at the most risk for unemployment during these times. This could adversely affect people looking for a part-time job. Next slide. Companies are more likely to stick to smaller, more well-trained groups than take on the strain of picking up more less skilled workers. According to a 2018 article by Spencer Hendricks, the prices will also go up due to this, so companies can retain some of the money that they're losing. Businesses need to increase prices if they're going to stay with their bottom line. Customers will have negative effects from this, but if the company doesn't do this, employees might have the chance of getting laid off. And raising the minimum wage would also hurt families who are on welfare. If the minimum wage is raised to $10 countrywide, 900,000 people would automatically be lifted out of the poverty level. According to a 2018 article by Locke Nguyen, a professor at USC, families on the SNAP program face less health care expenditure and maximize their food security. An increase to $10 would lead to an 8.7% decrease, or 3.6 million people. As soon as these people cross this imaginary poverty line, they no longer receive many of these benefits. Imagine how many people would be taken out of this if the minimum wage is raised to $15. Inflation is also tied to salary growth, so an increase to $15 would greatly outbalance the rate of inflation. Annual inflation increases by 3%. If we are to stick to this standard, due to the stats since the implementation of the minimum wage should be raised to only $7.91, and it's already $8.25 in many places. Many people want to raise the minimum wage for many different reasons, but these reasons may not be as helpful as they believe. These reasons also vary significantly. First off, they believe that an increase will significantly decrease the amount of people in poverty. According to a 2012 article by Mark Wilson, an expert on the labor force, the relationship between earning a low hourly wage and living in poverty is weak and becoming weaker because most of the working poor already work for wages above minimum wage. While it is true that some will be taking out of minimum wage because of an increase, others will be put right back in it when they lose their job or cannot find one. And about 40% of poor Americans don't even work. According to the same article by Wilson, a recent academic study on the minimum wage increases from 2003 to 2007 showed absolutely no correlation between the minimum wage increase and poverty levels at all. Another popular belief is that the minimum wage increases in the 90s were beneficial overall to everyone. Even though it is true that unemployment fell, the general improvement of the U.S. economic position throughout the time masked the actual effects of the minimum wage increase. Next slide. The increase did not lead to a change in unemployment overall, but there was a significant change in the employment of young teenage workers, which fell sharply through the 90s and early 2000s. According to a 2017 article by Aspen Gorey and Jeremy Jackson, further increases will lead to an extreme impact on unemployment outcomes for young people like us. Another big reason that many people want a minimum wage increase is to help employees of wealthy people, as they do not need the money they have. While it is true that a minimum wage increase, next slide, twice please, will cost businesses about $12,500 more a year, this might actually benefit bigger companies because they can afford to take this hit on their profits more than small companies can. This could lead to wealthy people having more of a monopoly on goods, which is exactly the opposite of what we want. This is because a minimum wage increase to $15 to pay employees is more than they are worth in the amount of price of goods consumers buy. According to a 2015 article by David Newmark, a professor at UCI, many employers will also substitute low-skilled labor for other equipment and capital, such as touchscreens like many fast food restaurants have put into place. However, there are also other solutions other than a minimum wage increase that will help. Even though a minimum wage increase won't help as much as people think it will, there are many other solutions that can benefit everyone. Welfare reform is greatly needed and would help significantly. Next slide, please. According to a 2013 article by Richard Langsworth, an author on history, the welfare programs encourage dependency and do not actually help people get on their feet. Many of the programs, once you reach a certain point, you are no longer able to receive any benefits. One of the ways this can be remedied is that scaling benefits would be implemented, so that as people begin to work more, the amount of benefits they receive go down slightly, so they still see small increases in the amount of money they make. This would encourage people to engage in work and would lead to increased work ethic and more work experience. Also, if people are able to work and not actively looking for a job, they should be disqualified to actually incentivize just at least looking for a job. Next slide. Another one of the ways to help is to invest in education in impoverished areas. According to a 2007 article by Jared Bernstein, a prominent economist, he suggests that investment in early education has immense benefits as it builds an educational base for the children. Even by the beginning of kindergarten, poor children's cognitive ability is severely hampered, along with increased behavioral problems. Growing children need access to activities that boost brain power, such as books and other extracurricular activities. Another part of this training program would be for the government to start training programs. According to a 2010 article by Brianne Hasty, a professor of business, a program like this would generally require unemployed and capable workers to undertake manual labor and community works projects programs. Next slide, please. Training programs like these would generally require the creation of more jobs, but this would likely be done by supporting public works programs or other things like that. Next one. The last idea is a new idea called microfinancing. This is defined as the supply of loans, savings, and other basic financial needs to the poor in small increments. Today, many poor people are not allowed to take out loans or other savings because of their poor financial situations. According to Kiva, a company that's pioneering microfinancing, small loans can be given to businesses to help people create businesses or reach their true potential. These people would generally be determined to be high risk by normal banks. These loans also have a repayment rate of about 96.8% and are considered to be very effective against predatory loan terms of normal banks. All in all, the decision to increase the minimum wage will affect all of us. And I hope that the discussion about the effects of increasing the minimum wage and other solutions instead of it will open your eyes to maybe a different side of the argument. And while increasing the minimum wage will surely be a highly contested topic in the future, many politicians should keep in mind what politician Jacob Rees-Mogg says, that increasing the minimum wage will not solve any of the problems that we are facing today.